just like any other small town, close-knit community, I think.
On September 26, 1988, 19-year-old James William Wilson Jr. walked into Oakland Elementary School and opened fire, first in the cafeteria and then in a classroom.
I don't remember seeing the gun. I just remember being shot. The next thing I knew, my left hand was crumpled.
I remember Miss Hyde waited for me to come to her. She was actually shot again at that moment.
7-year-old LaShonda Burt Reeder made it outside before she realized she was bleeding.
When I looked down at my arm, in my shirt, I seen all the blood.
The tragedy killed Shaquilla Bradley and Tequila Thomas. They are remembered through small memorials behind the school.
To hear the panic, unbelievable.
Major Urban Mitchell was the second investigator on the scene.
Believe it or not, word had still gotten out, and there was parents arriving almost just immediately after I got there.
After speaking with Greenwood residents, it is obvious that although 30 years have passed, the Oakland Elementary School shooting remains unspeakable.
Yeah, this is a bad day. I dream about it still. It's a terrible thing.
Jim Corsi spent 6 years as Greenwood's police chief.
And the last place that you'd think of would be a school that has 6 and 7 and 8 and 9-year-old children.
3 decades later, the recent tragedy in Parkland, Florida brought back the nightmares.
It's scary for me as a mom for the school to call me in the middle of the day.
I can't read what happened at Parkland yet.
What's happening now? We've got to make some changes.
Because although the photographs are black and blurry, for Greenwood, the pain will always stay in focus. For Carolina News, I'm Kristen Schneider. It can be a rough life for a shelter animal, but Palmetto Lifeline is working to make the transition into home life a lot smoother. The shelter is opening a neonatal nursery to care for puppies and kittens under 5 weeks old. According to volunteer Nancy Behrens, the additional unit is necessary.
Kittens will come in, and there really wasn't a place for them to go to be assessed, and for us to work with them, make sure that we had the right foster for the right kittens, somebody that had enough experience for the age that we were sending out with them.
With a rocking chair, a crib, and cages, Deanne Jones hopes to help out the younger animals, all thanks to the community.
Because of the donations through the community, we were able to outfit this place with different things like a rocking chair and curtains and different things needed for the kittens and the puppies.
According to Palmetto Lifeline, 44% of adoptable animals are euthanized here in the Midlands. That is almost double the national average of 23%. Palmetto Lifeline is a no-kill shelter, and the addition of a new unit can help kittens and puppies remain healthy, so they can have their chance at a forever home. For Carolina News, I'm Kristen Schneider.
It just seemed very suspicious.
That's how a friend of Barbara Nave describes her disappearance. The 80-year-old Sumter resident vanished last February at her home. A family friend found her front door wide open and her car in the driveway. That's when her son Paul learned she wasn't home.
I got up at about 4:30 in the morning so that I could be there when the day dawned.
Nave had just returned from a trip to see her son, who lives in Savannah, Georgia. Officials say the search started almost immediately.
We did expand our search through foot traffic and air traffic.
Nave was known to take walks in paths like these behind her home, but on one day in February 2017, she didn't return. Maria Roberts has known Nave for 20 years.
She just was a phenomenal friend.
Robert says Nave was a fierce person who loved to teach others. Nave taught English to workers at a local business, and she was pursuing her PhD in women's studies.
She had a lot going on, you know. She was very busy.
Although it has been over a year, people aren't giving up hope in finding Nave.
We still want to find Miss Nave.
For Carolina News, I'm Kristen Schneider.
6 bullets, less than 6 feet away. He said he knew I was going to die.
On March 5th, 2010, a man broke into Captain Robert Johnson's home and shot him 6 times.
And I knew then that this was the hit because, you know, we've been told there was a hit on me.
At the time, Johnson was a corrections officer at Lee Correctional Institution. An inmate coordinated the attack on Johnson by using an illegal cell phone. According to South Carolina Department of Corrections Director Brian Sterling, cell phone use is a significant factor in prison violence.
The vast majority of the incidents, the assaults, the disturbances, things of that nature are related to cell phone usage.
Johnson's former job of preventing those incidents by collecting contraband phones changed his family's life.
It's a crazy world. It's getting worse.
Either one of those must happen, either jamming or allow them to use managed access.
Johnson uses his experience to advocate for restrictions on inmates' access to cell phones, because that access changed how Johnson lives his life.
6 of these, 755 feet per second. That's the impact. No inmate should have been able to do that to me.